Hi everyone. Welcome back to the Mom Show. We are back. Today is our day for openness. I'm going to be bringing in Rochelle Mitchell shortly into the conversation, but I have to welcome our extended family from Brunswick because now we are live streaming to Barbados, Trinidad, and to the Caribbean Loves Brunswick page, as well as the Jamaica Brunswick page, and of course, the Island Mom family. So this is incredible. Once again, I have to thank Brunswick for this partnership, for this opportunity. The Mom Show has so far gotten really good reviews in the Island Mom group. I have to say, the comments that I'm seeing seem to be very, very positive. In our last episode on Tuesday, and you can go back to the pages and watch the recap, you would be able to see that we covered mindfulness, and that was with advanced teacher of therapeutic yoga, Trishan Houghton. When people think mindfulness, they think different things like, yoga and meditation. And I mean, she's a yoga teacher, but at the same time, we really delved into mom guilt and issues that we just have on a general basis of even balancing our own time at home and the concerns that we have as moms, and in particular for single moms. So Trishan did a beautiful breathing exercise. She gave us some great tips. So I want to encourage you to go back and watch the recaps on the pages. But tonight we're talking about openness. I have to say I have a giveaway. So you don't want to drop off of this live broadcast because we're gonna have a giveaway towards the end. You have to watch to be able to catch the cues for the giveaway to win the prize. We're gonna be awarding a prize to the Island Mom page folks and a prize to the Brunswick family. And I have to just state that it's to the Brunswick Jamaica page because the prize is a supermarket voucher. However, if you happen to win a prize from one of the other groups, maybe you'd be willing to gift it to one of the members here in Jamaica. So without further ado, I want to welcome Madame Rochelle.
Hi.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you? How are you?
I'm hanging in there. It is hot tonight.
Listen, the heat here is real. So you maybe hear my fan going.
Yeah, like my sweat. Like I'm gonna be using this throughout.
That's fine. I have my water, so
yes, we're hydrating.
definitely.
I mean, the last time I had a little bit of wine here because it seemed to be a cooler night, but I can't manage the wine tonight.
No, water is necessary tonight.
Oh, definitely. But I'm seeing comments coming in. So the folks are commenting. Please keep them going. I want to encourage you, if you have any questions, please drop them into the comments and we'll see if we can tackle them towards the end. Maybe if something jumps out, maybe Rochelle will chime in. And if you have comments, then we'll also display them on the screen, depending on what we're talking about, right? So I want to go straight into the topic, Rochelle. I have to introduce you properly, though, because you are a communication specialist. You've been a broadcast journalist for 9 years?
Yes.
You're a PR as well as a social media specialist.
Yes.
And I mean, you were here trying to calm me down because I openly expressed how nervous I was in the last broadcast, and I'm here trying to control how much I'm sweating now.
Sweating is normal. Just accept it.
Okay, thank you. Well, yeah, we had a good pep talk. You were trying to calm me down. But yeah, so I want to just welcome you officially to the Mom Show.
Thank you.
And I would like to just delve straight into the topic of openness. So openness, what is openness?
What openness means to me is a lack of restriction. There's a lack of secrets. Everything is on the table. It's open. It's open season, you know?
Yeah. So what I found beautiful with how the Mom Show is laid out with mindfulness, openness, there's a need to be very self-aware
Yes.
And mindfulness helps where that's concerned, like being very conscious of our actions or thoughts. The key to mindfulness, based on what we had discussed with Trishan, was a lack of emphasis on being non-judgmental
So
and
that also plays into openness because
openness.
you're mindful of the fact that you need to be open about certain things in your life.
Right.
So I just want to jump right in because I know we
Yes.
spoke about this earlier. So, for example, when you think about openness, you think about a lot of anxieties that you have, a lot of fears that you have. And you
Mm-hmm.
mentioned earlier mom guilt. That is something that's very, very real and it can drive you. Listen, it drives you places. So
Mm-hmm.
you have to be open about the fact that these things are happening. You have to acknowledge them and know that they're real because if you avoid these things, you're going to keep on learning the same lesson over and over until you get it right. So
Mm-hmm.
the less you avoid, the better off you are.
Right. So let's talk about some of the benefits of openness. Let's go deep.
The benefits of openness, I'm looking at validating your emotions and validating your feelings, right?
Mhm.
So in Jamaica, we're not the kind of society that really speaks openly about mental health. It's looked at as taboo. I mean, a lot of our men are told, if bad man a cry and if a man cries, it's like he's weak, he's not supposed to do that. There's also this perception that you're really not supposed to speak about how you're truly feeling because you always have to remain positive,
Mhm.
right? So I want to say acknowledge your feelings, and be true to them. Realize that that is happening. A benefit of openness in this way is that when you don't do that, what you find will happen is that you have all these backed up feelings. So then you get the anxieties and you get the depression and you get all these other things coming out because at the end of the day, these feelings that you bottle up must come out.
Right. You you know one the because we're also speaking to the Caribbean. I mean, we have a stigma about mental health, about being open with our own personal struggles, but at the same time, we tend to be a very open people.
We
We
are.
will we will
Yes.
tell people how we feel.
Definitely. That outfit doesn't look good. You don't even know
Yeah.
the person and then you telling them,
What
oh,
party you put on weight?
the
Like,
weight thing, definitely. Or, oh my gosh, she just had a baby. Hold on now, you're not losing the weight.
oh yeah, or I get like, you pregnant? No, I'm just fat. No, we're being open, right? We're being
Yes, somebody
open.
said that too.
Girl, I've heard this. Like, so we're just moving on. But I'm sure
Please.
y'all can comment how many of you have experienced this because I know it's not just me. But I'm not bitter, maybe a little.
Well, you see, you're being open about it now. You're acknowledging your feelings, and we're going to talk about it, and we're going through it. So that's a part of the first step.
Exactly, exactly. But in terms of that stigma, let's talk about the stigma a little bit because the the sad part is in terms of our nature of being open, and we will say what is on our mind,
Mhm.
which is not exactly the truth because we will hide the inner, deeper thoughts, the fears. Um, I remember only seeing my mother cry a handful of times. And I mean, it still ingrained something in me of what it means to be a strong woman. But at the same time, the first time was jarring. My whole like concept was was shattered
Amazing.
because it was something that I witnessed. And in your notes and in what we had spoken about before, there was a need to be able to tackle openness with our children. And
Yes.
I think it's important to have those conversations and to how can we start maybe removing some of the stigma that we have associated with our inner feelings.
Well, we just have to acknowledge that this thing is something that's real and it's not going away. It's a part of life,
Mhm.
essentially. So you just have to do what you need to do. Whereas the kids are concerned, my daughter is 2, and I talk to her quite normally about life, about her emotions. They have some little diva days because the terrible twos are going on. And some days she gets up and it's, morning, mommy, and it's great. And another morning it's like, and she's herself. Her fingers like, And
She's
like, you want
over
a
it.
bottle? Yeah. And she's like, And I'm just like, okay. But I allow her, I say, hey, how are you feeling today? Did you sleep well?
Uh-huh.
What kind of mood are you in? And I said to her, it's fine to not always be perky and not always be happy, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a time and a place and you go through it. So this too shall pass. So you don't hold on to it. You receive it, you acknowledge
Mm-hmm.
it, you honor it, you process it, and you move on.
So you have a 2-year-old daughter, and
To
like my heart is with the moms with toddlers during this time.
okay.
I don't know how you're doing it. I have a 6-year-old and a 15-year-old. Uh, yeah, yes. but but the 6-year-old, so he's a handful, and I want to talk about that what you had mentioned a while ago about bad man no cry and this
Yeah.
nature that we have around openness. And I want to bring in the concept of toxic masculinity. So some people don't necessarily actually even like that terminology, but I think it's necessary for us to talk about it, because that's, if you're ingraining into a child from a very young age, that I remember when my child was a baby. I'm talking about, like, he was no more, he never even reached one. And we were at a little birthday party, something happened, and he started crying. And a gentleman, and I'm being generous by saying gentleman, right? Said, no, 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 you're a boy, you don't cry. I said, no, you stay out of this conversation. He's going to cry. He's a
Mm.
baby. But
Yes, he is.
we start enforcing this mindset into our boys in particular as well, from a very, very young age. And then, of course, it can have repercussions later on. So,
Yeah.
uh,
I
for
think
me, it's an ongoing struggle to ensure that we are keeping the communication line open for him to express his feelings as well.
Well, it's a very interesting thing, Anika, because primary socialization of your children is not just primarily on you. The
Mm-hmm.
kids, it's not just that they do what you tell them to do. Half the time they don't do that. They do what they see you doing. So how you interact with daddy, how you interact with grandma, how you interact with grandpa, other men, other women, that's what they really pick up. So me wanting my child to learn openness and learn that she should express herself and this is how she's gonna go on doesn't necessarily translate to what grandma or grandpa would treat her. So
Right.
first of all, we have to start having the discourse in society. We need to stop making this thing taboo. It's very real and it's affecting us all over. Even as simple as you quoted there saying that the gentleman said to your son, don't cry, you're a man. Really?
Yeah. No.
So I'm not so right there. It's you're teaching him that as a man you don't have emotions. You're tough. You don't cry, of course, because it's a sissy
Mm-hmm.
thing. So you have a lot of these emotions. Like I said, it's gonna come out one way or the other. So you
Right.
bottle that up now, and it comes out as rage. They might turn out to be abusive, or something else might come out of it. They might have a disorder. They might display signs of abnormal or maladaptive behavior. There's a range of things that can come from it. You can even be your health can even be affected. I don't think people know that holding on to things and holding things inside and not getting it out can even affect your health,
Right.
your headaches, you're tense all the time, you're stressed, which could affect you in other ways. You know what I mean?
Right.
So definitely we want to have more of a discourse on that. Let our gentlemen understand that they definitely have the right to speak their mind and say this is how I feel. And I think a lot more relationships in general would benefit from that kind of thing where you're able to openly say what you want to your partner instead of wondering, oh my gosh, is this going to hurt his feelings? So if it's going to hurt his feelings, I'm not going to say it because it's going to put me in this light, but that's going to affect the relationship anyway. So it's better that we teach our kids and the youth right now, say what
Mm-hmm.
you feel. We have to teach them how to say what they feel. We have to create some kind of discourse around that, make it ongoing because, as you say, it's already a part of Jamaican culture.
Yeah.
So talk how you feel. What's Saska said, me I gotta talk how I feel. So say what you feel.
Yeah.
But why is there then this restriction where mental health is concerned? Because it's a very real thing. A lot of people suffer from mental health disorders, and they're
Mhm.
unwilling to speak about it and unwilling to get the help that they need because of this stigma that exists. So we have to now weigh the cost and say, okay, do we go ahead and continue to suppress this and not talk about it and just pretend that it doesn't exist? Or do we go ahead and acknowledge it and we do something about it? We have a plan and we get rid of, not get rid of, but we flatten the curve on that issue.
But so how can we tackle it? How can we tackle it? We're actually getting a question here. The
Sure.
children that can't talk at the age of, let me put this up on the screen.
Sure.
The children that can't talk at the age of 2 have more aggression, or is it just their normal anger issues?
Well, I'm not certified by anybody, but as a moment, my experience is yes, I think they do have a little bit, I think it's a little bit of both. They don't quite know yet by our societal norms how to express their emotions in an acceptable manner, right? So what we perceive as normal anger issues or more aggression might just be their way of trying to communicate something, and they're frustrated because you're not understanding. So I
Right.
wouldn't necessarily label it aggression or anger. They're just frustrated that maybe they're trying to communicate with mommy or daddy and they're not getting fully understanding what they're trying to say.
I
So
can I can give a tip here. I'm gonna jump in
oh,
here because I learned about baby sign language before I had a kid when I was studying psychology, and it just had during the studies it kind of came up in a lecture and it kind of went in one ear, came out the other. But when I got pregnant, it came back to the conscious.
we have that knowledge.
And what was amazing for me, and if Monique, if you have a younger than 2 year old who is still not talking as much, and just like Rochelle says, they're having a hard time communicating. I found that teaching my child a little bit of sign language, they learn it very, very quickly. The signs are not perfect, but it helps them to communicate. So one of the most beautiful things was when I would leave him with the nanny, or I would leave him with another caregiver while I went to work. He was able to communicate his needs, and that lowered frustration.
Right.
So if you can imagine, if you are thirsty and somebody is giving you a bottle of milk and you want water, you're going to be pissed off, right?
I
So,
yes.
so
Yes.
him being able to speak and be able to say that he wants water, which is
Yes.
this is now a sign language class. Water, the letter W right by the mouth, or milk, which is a
Oh,
squeeze in the fist, like you're milking a
oh,
cow.
nice.
Milk versus water, it makes a huge difference. I mean, if the baby can say that they're in pain, and you can say, "Where is the pain? Where do you feel the pain?" I remember my child when he told me he had a sore throat. I was wondering why this child is acting like a mad person. But I said, "Does somewhere hurt?" And he says, "Okay, where? Where hurts? Does the throat hurt?" It's like, wow. And then like the next day he got a fever. But I can tell you this works. It lowers your frustration too.
Mhm.
Because if you are the picnic crying, you don't know what to do, at least you have a little bit of a communication tool.
Yes, because that's a whole
Yeah.
other level of frustration there when they're crying and you don't know what's going
Yeah,
on.
exactly. We just went in a different angle.
That's all right.
But it's still openness, eh? It's open
Definitely
communication.
openness. So also what I noticed, another benefit of openness is that
Mhm.
the people that are more open or practicing openness, they're more adventurous. They tend to step out into the world. They want to do more things. They want to meet more people. Get onto more opportunities versus somebody who is not practicing openness and is now reaping the disadvantages of not practicing
Mm.
openness.
Let's go straight into that.
Exactly. All right. So some of the disadvantages, they're not as open. obviously they're not
Yeah.
practicing openness, and their emotions are bottled up. So this is now where you find a lot of the anxiety or the depression. And let me not say that this is the only way that you can get anxiety or depression. There are different kinds of anxiety about different things. Some people are anxious about sports, anxious about different things in life. It's just a human emotion right there. So
Mm-hmm.
they prefer routine and tradition. So they like the same things. They don't like much change. So you might find that these people have opportunities and they're not able to jump onto and capitalize and develop these opportunities that can become something long term and beneficial to them, because
Right.
this is what I want. They're stuck and they have difficulties coping with change because they're not honest with themselves about what makes them anxious or just refuse to change. So
Mm-hmm.
those are some of the things that you look at. And then, of course, this now is going to impact your relationship because you don't know what you're feeling. You don't know how to resolve what you're feeling. And then it transfers to your relationship. So you're going to interact with your child like that. You're going to interact with your spouse like that. You're going to interact with your friends like that. So openness
Mm-hmm.
extends to so many things in your life. And it makes life so much easier because let me tell you something. Okay. So what gets me into knowing the value of openness or appreciating the value of openness is the fact that I know that when my plate is full, like I have a lot of things that I need to do, and I start to feel bogged down, and I start to get frustrated. I have to be all right. Stop, Rochelle. 3 things that need to get done right now. One,
Mm-hmm.
2, 3. Write it down. Let's get these 3 things done. You're a human
Mm-hmm.
being. You need to rest. You need to eat. And that's another thing that's so important. You have to be mindful of your nutrition. You have to feed your body so your mind can be right, so you can be right, so your soul can be right, so your immune system can be right. So everything is interconnected, right?
Right.
So it's all about taking care of you. You have to
Mm-hmm.
take care of you because as a single mom, also for me, Anika, I don't know about you. If I don't get my proper rest, not eating well, my body, I can feel the difference.
Mm-hmm.
I've been
Mm-hmm.
trained to dance professionally, so I know if I put on a pound or if I take off a pound, I can
You're
feel
going
it.
to feel that.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. Right?
Mm-hmm.
The bones and the knees and the ankles feel it. So I know when I put on a pound or I take off a pound. It's very important for me to be on my game because I need to be at my best to provide for this little human who thinks I'm the greatest thing in the world and you don't want to
Mm-hmm.
disappoint. That's another part of not being open now is you putting all this pressure on yourself. All this
Mm-hmm.
pressure on yourself. Are you going to drown in anxiety when you feel like you haven't accomplished any of these things? Are you going to be honest about, what you can accomplish, the time period, set out some guidelines and say, okay, I'm going to do this in this time, I'm going to do that in that time. You have to be very honest and realistic with yourself about what you can accomplish. And don't beat up yourself. Be your biggest cheerleader. Always be your biggest cheerleader. I'm my biggest critic, by the way. I'm just really,
I think aren't we all though? Aren't
I
especially I think
really
overall moms. I think overall we're just our biggest critique.
I think what's great, what I love about this platform is that I'm able to share with you and share with the other moms. Because let me tell you something, that mom guilt is really not bad.
It's insane.
I feel bad. I'm like, shit, okay, I just want to go outside for a little bit and have a walk. And I'm like, oh, but it's time away from the baby. Does that make me a bad person for wanting to go outside for a walk? Like
Mm-hmm.
I just came from work, but I haven't seen her all day. But I need this time to go from super efficient work to mommy,
Right.
because I have to make
Right.
that transition for
There's
her.
no break. There's no break per se. No.
I tell people, I saw this meme on the internet, I forget where, and it says that depression is your avatar telling you that it's tired of the role that you're playing, right?
That was Jim Carrey. I saw that one too.
The, okay, that's very, very true. When you have
Mm-hmm.
to be these different personalities and these different people, so you're at work, you're this super efficient employee, right? Your friend call you for a chat, you switch into girlfriend mode or sister mode or whatever it needs at that
Mm-hmm.
moment in time. You might call a friend to vent, that person becomes an ear to listen to. Then, of course, now you're going to have to deal with mommy and you have to deal with daddy and you have to deal with possibly, if you're lucky enough, baby daddy, or
Yeah.
husband or whoever else. So you have these roles that women assume all day long. And I'm like, how do we really do it? I used to look at my mother and I'm like, how does she do that? No, and
Yeah.
I think moms, like, superhero.
Yeah.
I didn't know I could do so many things at one time, like seriously. But I have to be open with myself about what I can do, what it is that I can achieve at any one point in time, because the excess expectations also tear me down, and that translates to my child. So I remember there was an instance where I actually resigned from a job because I felt like the energy that I was taking home from that place, I did
Mm,
not want to share that with my child at any
mm-hmm.
point in time. Because it's not just about being in the space and having that energy shared with you. I can be on the road and a call comes in, and I'm going to assume that role, so I'm going to take on that energy. So that's something that's definitely of concern to me. So I had to get out of that situation. But just as I said, be open. What do you need?
Yeah. You,
What
you
your kids
touched
need.
on you touched on okay, so I'm gonna backtrack to a bit of um, Trishan's interview or conversation on Tuesday, and we were talking about mindfulness, but I we had also touched on the fact that all of these roles that you're talking about pre-COVID, maybe at some point there might be a little break in the day. If you're stuck in traffic, I actually said this to somebody recently and they looked at me sideways. I said, I actually somewhat miss being stuck in traffic between meetings because it was time where I was alone
Hmm.
and I don't have mommy, or the phone ringing or another Zoom call or something. And but no, you're always on. And before, I think some people, and I had mentioned this in the conversation with Trishan, that you can have your village and the village can help to support you. But during COVID, that village is somewhat taken away in some ways. And she made a point, which was very important, to state that not everyone has a village,
Hmm.
and your village could just be one person.
Yeah.
And that was something that resonated with me. For me personally, I don't necessarily I have a virtual village with Island Mom. That's for damn sure. The women are amazing, but at the same time, I don't. We don't have grandparents for my children. They're both deceased. Both of my parents are deceased,
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
and the other grandparents are away. So there's not that support. So I remember, and you're talking about the mom guilt, the first time that I heard my mother's voice, because I lost her right before I got pregnant, was the baby was crying. And you in that state of, especially after you just have baby, it's like your natural instinct is to respond. And
Hmm.
because you're constantly responding, your brain is about to explode. And I remember I just ran to the bathroom. Like we're talking frankly here, right? So I'm just there. I just wanted to pee. Okay. And
Yes.
the child is crying. And I start bawling because I'm like, I just want to
Mm.
pee. I just need a moment. And I
Listen.
heard my mother's voice say, make the pick me ball. Make the pick me ball. Like stop. Take a moment. You need a moment. And
Yeah, you do.
it was pivotal for me at the time because I realized that I had to slow down. We take so much on, and I think
What?
we battle with this mom guilt all the time.
All day, every day. When I'm not with her, all day, every day, I'm like, I might be sitting down, chilling, watching Netflix with my friends, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, all right, you think I should call? Like anything can
Yeah,
happen. Like, you think I should I call? And then I call, and they're like, what? Because I have a village. I have grandma, and I have grandpa, and I have
that's
a
wonderful.
cousin that's trained to take care of children. It is and it isn't. Because let me tell
Yeah.
you, everybody has an opinion.
Oh well, that's the other part.
Yes, so you get help, but this is why I say it's so important, Anika, to be open, because no, I also have to balance my expectations with that. I have to pick my battles. I have to know that, the fact that my child can now color on the wall. That if I colored on at that
Mhm.
age, I would not be here talking to you today. You know, I'm
That,
looking
that
at
there's
her.
a whole different dynamic with the
I'm just like,
grandchildren, right?
I was like, why can't I color the wall? No, no, but no, she's an artist and she needs to express herself. And her newest thing now, is talking and saying this is her house. And I'm just like, great. If I had said that, somebody would have slapped me and sent me to my room and told me to read a book. You know what I mean? But there is that differential, but it definitely takes a village. But you do have to be honest about, as I said, expectations and the scheduling. And I do miss that. You're so very right. Nothing like that time in the car for me.
That is a
Because
long time.
listen, man, because I'm trumping my music, I'm locked into fame all the time, and I'm just like, yes, yes, and this is it. That's my escape is music, really.
Mm-hmm.
Music, swimming, dancing,
Mm-hmm.
perfect trifecta for me. So once I have those things, then I'm happy. So I find time to get that one little escaping because, as you mentioned, it's so hard to get caught up in that. And the honesty in it is that you realize after a while, like I can tell you when I'm burning out and I feel it and I say, okay, slow down here a little bit. You need to take a little time for yourself.
Right.
And even though I'm taking the time for myself, I'm like, oh my God, I wonder if the baby's okay. I wonder what's going on. And I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the point of taking this time for yourself if you're going to be panicking about the child anyway? But it was very refreshing to have a conversation with my girlfriends and hear them tell me that they have the same concerns. My best friend Fiona is very instrumental in just saying to me, Ma, you have to take that time for yourself. So if it looks like 5 minutes in your car when you pull up in a driveway, you have to take that time because you have to have that balance.
Right.
We're always asking women, how can we have it all? Can you do it all? Yes, you have to be honest with yourself about what you're willing to give up and what you're willing to accept. And you are responsible for the repercussions and the choices that you make. So you have to know what you want. I can't choose for you. But just be honest with yourself and know that, listen, we're humans. We're not whole iron. You have to slow down at some point.
Let's talk about mental health again. I'm gonna
Sure.
backtrack to that because you made mention of it, like the lack of openness can take its toll on mental health. Um, I think that what you're talking about, where self-care is concerned, it definitely helps where mental health is concerned. Your trifecta of what was it? Dance, swimming, and music.
Yes.
That's something that keeps you stable. I have always been a mental health advocate because I struggle with depression and anxiety, and I have openly stated this. And it has been a journey of openness, and it has been a journey of mindfulness as well, to be very conscious of my thoughts so that I don't just spiral. Because anybody who struggles with mental illness or any sort of issue like depression, they know what the spiral is that I'm talking about.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's so much easier. Like when people say, and I think that's the Caribbean stigma as well, the cultural stigma, where they say, no man, catch yourself, like fix yourself, like
I
but
remember.
for
Go ahead.
somebody's brain who's in that space, it doesn't function that way. It's not like we can pull ourselves out
No,
unless
you
we can
can't.
catch it very quickly.
I think that the issue of mental health also it depends on the individual that you speak
There's
to
a
because
helicopter about to pass. They did this over Trishan's house the last broadcast.
so they're checking for
I'm
you,
just
no?
saying. So you might hear some noise, but please continue.
No problem. That stigma that's attached to is it over? It's here too. Oh, okay.
Maybe we
We live
live
nearby. You should know. Oh my
we're
gosh.
neighbors that we didn't know.
I'm like, what is this
Or there's two
helicopter?
helicopters.
How did you do that? Okay. So that stigma that you talk about and the way people treat you is why a lot of people don't open up and don't say anything. I've been in situations where I've seen individuals, they come to me and they talk. People always do this to me. They walk up to me, they will talk to me, they will tell me their whole life story, and I will listen intently and try to help each person as I can because I believe that's why we're truly here. Each one reach one. We're literally one unit and we're here and we need to make it work together.
Mhm.
So what I've seen is that a lot of people, when they go out on a limb and they tell people how they're feeling, the first thing they get is a snap out of it.
Mm.
And I had a girlfriend say to me once, I'm intelligent. have 3 degrees, I have a PhD, and you're going to tell me to snap out of it? Like, I didn't think about that myself. Like, obviously, that was the first thing I tried to do, was snap out of it. And then she said she felt like people started to handle her with kid gloves, and they handled her differently. And, there might have been some opportunities that she would have wanted to be considered for otherwise. And because of that, no, the stigma, she's damaged, so they don't want to touch her. They don't want to employ her for certain things. So I think because of that ideology that we share in society, that's a problem for some people. But there are some people like you that I'm very glad that you're open and you're speaking out about that, because it's something that's very real. I've experienced anxiety myself in a lot of moments, and it can be crippling. Like, I remember when Zuri was born. Okay, I'm gonna share a story. So I remember when Zuri was born. It's not funny. And I had an emergency C-section. So in my mind, let me just tell you, like, first of all, I didn't know I was going to be a mom. Like, nothing. God himself would have had to come down and tell me that I was going to be a mother, because me, like, no. I love kids. I have about 14 godchildren, but me personally, no. Corporate auntie, I'm going to be working all the time. Anyways, got pregnant. Boy, it was a struggle. It was really, really a struggle. I put on a lot of weight. I had a lot of allergies. I was only breathing out of one nostril at one point in time. I was very, very quick and very athletic, and I could do anything quickly. Even my brain, I felt like it kind of slowed down. I'm like, what's going on? And a lot of stuff happened while I was pregnant. I lost a lot of family and friends. And I remember, this is another thing now, people telling me even how to be. During the pregnancy, they would say to me, boy, you can't cry and you can't be depressed, because however you are now is how the baby is going to come out, So you just have to hold on to this right now. See me just packing it in and smiling and, and going through, because I don't want this to affect the baby. So I'm like, all right, cool, I'm doing this. And then, emergency C-section come around, and, there was some stress involved. So we had to do that. And baby comes out, and this is where the anxiety just ramps up now, because my daughter now needs oxygen to breathe. She's not breathing by herself. So I'm like, it felt to me, I've heard people talk about having an out-of-body experience. That's what it felt like, because some dark night of the soul type thing, because I felt like I was just sitting there just watching everything happening. So she had to be on ventilators. Her little heart was connected to a machine. Like, it's like I was in this dream. I'm walking in, I'm seeing other moms holding their baby, and for like the first probably 3, 4, 5 days I couldn't hold my child. I had to be sticking my finger in, to touch her and let her hold my little hand like this, So I would sing to her all the time. I was very, very anxious, but I was very mindful of the fact that, okay, when I go in here, no matter how much pain I was in, I had to be there and I had to be present for her, because I also heard that babies can feel your emotion. They can feel what you're going through.
Right.
So I always try to be very balanced, and, I never used to know a lot about Bob Marley's song, but somehow, I'm sure it's one of my grandmother's divine intervention, this song came into my head, don't worry about a thing, because every little thing is going to be all right. And I would sing that to her and to myself, to be honest, because I was trying to convince myself to, very hard. So she couldn't get enough oxygen, and that went on for a little while, and then she started to do a little bit better. And then one morning, they wheeled me down, and here's my child with her head shaved, and there's a needle in her head. Because they can't find any other veins, because they have done so much to her little hands and feet.
Wow.
And at that moment, I think I just snapped, and autopilot. It was just autopilot, because at that moment I realized, I was open enough to realize that, listen, there's no way I can go into any emotional distress or anything like that now, because it's really just all about her.
Right.
And she was there for 10 days. And I remember even my dad saying to me, you have to take a break, you have to rest. So we come home from the hospital, because after about 6 days they let me out, and I came out without her, and I felt weird.
Wow.
All the other moms, even on the ward, all the other moms had their baby and they were crying. I remember one of the moms going, could you watch my baby while I pee? I was like, sure.
Oh, Lord.
So I kind of felt weird. I was like, what did I do wrong? That was the biggest guilt. I was like, what did I do wrong? Did I not take enough vitamins? Did I not eat well enough? Did I not eat on time?
Hear the guilt.
Is there something I did?
Wow.
Oh my gosh, I'm asthmatic. Did I pass it on to her? I full on meltdown, but I made sure that when I went to see that baby, everything's okay. Everything's okay. It's going to be great. And then she came home, And one day, she would not go to sleep. I put her down. She would not go to sleep.
Mhm.
And I was just like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And I put her on my chest, and that is where she stayed. And she fell asleep. And it was a wonderful thing. And I got some sleep for the first time. When I woke up the next day and I realized it's like everything came down onto me at one time. And I realized
Mhm.
what was happening. I was like, I'm tired. I haven't slept. I haven't been eating well. I had no breast milk, of course, because I was stressed out that I wasn't producing
Yeah.
anything. And I didn't know at the time that if you're stressed and worried, it's not going to
But
happen.
by the way, people always assume, and even me mentally, I thought, this breastfeeding thing, it's supposed to be easy. It's like supposed to be natural. It isn't.
It
It's
was
not.
it wasn't. Okay.
I
And
used
my
to ball. Like it was painful.
mm,
It was
mm,
not, it did not come naturally. And it
it,
does
it,
not come naturally for many, many moms.
you know what naturally was a shock for me was when I wasn't breastfeeding, of course, because she was in NICU. And a
Mhm.
nurse came to me. She goes, "Mommy," I was like, "Yes, nurse." And she's like, "Oh, you have to squeeze out the milk out of your breast, or else it will harden up." So I was like, "Lady, what are you talking about?" "No, man, I'm good, man. She's not drinking it. We're good. Everything's good." She's like, "No, no, no." So I said, "What do you
Mhm.
mean?" She's like, "If you don't squeeze it out, it's going to
Woo.
harden up, and you're going to get a fever." And I'm just like, "Are you trying
Yeah.
to scare me?" And she's
Oh
like, "No,
yeah.
no, no." And then, so she, my cousin and my friend were there at the time. And so it's like, "Okay, I'm going to squeeze." And they're like, "Let's just sit here with you." I was like, "No, no, sit outside the curtain, please." She pulls the curtains and this woman starts to squeeze. Listen to me. Jesus. 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 I don't know.
You're going back.
Listen, I'm
Breathe, breathe, Rochelle, breathe.
Jesus. I screamed. Like, the head sister ran around to see what was going on because she was like, "What?" I was like, Jesus. When they tell you these things, then somebody needs. I think that really is a disservice. There's a lot of things that we need to share with the younger moms, or even the first time moms that are not as young like myself,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that was a big culture shock. Okay, somebody should have
Shameless
told me.
mom, island mom. We share. We're open.
Thank you
but
very much.
but
Because
it's there are lots of rude awakenings where when you just become a mom or you're pregnant and some of these things that you just didn't know about. I didn't have my mom, so that's why I started looking for mom groups, and I needed some advice. Like the books just weren't enough.
I, I,
So
I'm gonna be honest, though, Anika, I didn't read any books, really.
mhm.
Everybody bought me what to expect when expecting it. I pretty much, I did frighten. I'm not going to lie. I did frighten because I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be responsible for this person. And I was always interested in becoming a psychologist.
Mhm.
I wanted to be a lawyer or a psychologist. And then I thought to myself, but when I go make the money in Jamaica, because they're not going to tell you if you come to the psychologist, you're a mad person. So that's not going to happen. So I said, all right. So I go into the law thing with my father. I'm a daddy's girl. I'm a big daddy's girl.
Uh-huh.
You kind of moved me up for the daughter. I don't know how I feel about that. But I was just like, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? I I think that being a mom, somebody needs to tell us some of the stuff that happens. You need to get a little crash course or something. Somebody needs to give you a little pamphlet, and it needs to be honest. It needs to be applicable things that you can
Mhm.
apply in your daily life. Like this
Mhm.
thing of sleeping on my right side, or telling me that I'm going to take. Whereas I used to go from point A to point B in 5 seconds, it's going to take me 1 hour now.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
remember a friend
Or
of
you
mine.
get up and you forget what you're getting up for. Mom
Listen,
brain.
I had
Those
a.
things. We
I,
won't go about mom brain again though.
I want to know because I was like, can I tell them what you said about the mom brain? Because I'm still reeling from
Feel
it.
free. I still have mom brain 6 years later, and it's
Let me be
yeah.
open right now. You're freaking me out. I don't want to have mom brain for 6 years. But I
Maybe that's
write.
just my excuse. It's an excuse.
Oh no, I write. No, it's not. I write everything down now just to be sure. You know what I mean? I'm accepting my limitations and honest with myself. What was that?
Momnesia.
Yes.
Royan. Royan is momnesia.
Oh, that's my friend Hira. Yes, definitely momnesia. So they've had to put up a lot with a lot of that from me, especially because I forget a lot of things. And at first I used to be very, very down on myself, and I'm like, why is my body not snapping back? Because I've always been so active, and I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
snap back. No, it wasn't snapping
But
back.
one thing I want to point out is that we're having a very open discussion right here,
Yes,
and the benefits of openness can be a spin-off to helping others who will end up watching this show. Phoenix says that she has mom brain 6 years later too. We're in the same boat, girl.
oh gosh, 6 years for real?
Oh gosh, that's my excuse, and I'm gonna stick to it for
It's
now.
okay.
But I want us to talk about creating an open home. What tips do you have in terms of creating an open home?
I think you be honest. You need to be honest. Be very, very honest. Like I'm gonna honestly tell you now that I'm hearing the baby outside the door and I'm doing the mom thing. Okay. So you definitely have to be honest. If you have a village, you have to be honest with the village as to, your expectations, what they can expect from you, what you can expect from them, because, not everybody has that. But in your situation, you have to be honest with yourself as to what you can do. It's
Mm-hmm.
okay to let them cry sometimes. That's kind of guilty. I always picking them up. I can't deal with the crying myself, but I understand.
There's a trigger. It triggers you. It does. To this day, I mean, and it happens with many moms. Women know this, that when you hear a baby cry, it doesn't have to be yours. If you're still breastfeeding, even sometime after you're done breastfeed, you'll feel the letdown in the breasts.
I
Still,
see.
there's
I
a
still.
trigger.
But even when you go out and they cry, I feel a different way about children right now. Like, I guess because of what I went through, because I did not have an easy pregnancy. If God decides to bless me with another child, then I will say thank you, Lord. But I'm not trying to have any more children. You know what I mean? Because after that, no, that brought me a
But
lot
being
of
able to
anxiety.
express that is also powerful, though. You see the same thing we're talking about how Caribbean people we tend to, yeah man, when next you having another one? Or when they getting baby sister? Like it's but for you to be able to say that, for me to say, listen, I think I'm done. I think I'm done. I'm good.
Listen to me very carefully. Let me share something with you. Because my cousin is like, oh my God, she needs a brother. She needs a sister. I said, okay, we have two dogs, a male and a female. She can pick which sibling she wants to be which. Me not doing that again, though. No, all right. No, no.
We're just being open, right?
Yeah, please,
Being
no.
open.
I mean, she's a beautiful human being. I love her with all my heart. I never know that I could love anybody else like that in the world. And she's amazing. Now, when I look at her and I see, because I'm always like, my friends think I'm the comedian on the group and they're always laughing. And when I see her and, I see some of my mannerisms in her, I'm like, I'm cracking up. I'm like, that's what I look like. Oh my gosh, she's so amazing. So, you see this little person. And then, of course,
Mm-hmm.
when she tries to pull a fast one on me, I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
but even in the times when she makes me angry, what I try to be open about is my feelings. And I have, I remember shouting at her once. I was very tired, and I turned around. I caught myself really quickly because I think that raising a human being is not just about keeping them safe. It's about your contribution to the society, because this person is going to grow up and become a member of society. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why I was so afraid to become a parent, because I'm like, that's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest responsibility in life. Like, I
For
didn't
me,
want to
like that
mess that up.
pressure, I'm gonna jump in because that pressure of knowing that I'm raising somebody's potential
Yeah,
husband, partner, father is
that's great.
immense in my head. And
It's mind
it's
blowing.
it's his father is very open, and I think I can be open to say this, that he acknowledges his limitations with his openness in terms of how he was raised. That he's coming a long way in terms of being able to connect to a more emotionally intelligent
Hmm.
space, because he wants to be better for his son and in part better for his son. But that was an it has been a growth. it never just starts out. Like it
No,
had to be a process
a conscious
of
decision to want to do it.
acknowledging that, listen, this whole thing about boys being boys is foolishness, in my opinion.
I
Because
like that, in my
the
opinion.
same thing that we speak about where, and I'm actually bringing this into the conversation, but the aspect that we don't want men to feel entitled to women. For me,
And the
and I'm
same
going
for
here,
women being entitled to men. It works both ways.
very good point. And I guess because I'm a boy mom, I am instilling in him from right now that no means no.
Hmm.
So when he's forcing me to do something, or he's trying to play with a friend or his sister, and his sister is saying, no,
Yeah,
leave me alone, he needs to understand that from now. And in terms of creating this sense of openness, like creating an open home, being able to have him understand that somebody else's emotions and somebody else's feelings, somebody
validate
else's
that.
fears
Yeah,
are valid, he needs to listen to them and we need to listen to him because they're their own little people too.
they are, and they have personalities just like us. And right away, I communicate to her that, listen, you have to be honest with yourself.
Mhm.
I said, Mommy, and you, even when you're growing up, I talked to her, I said, you're a big girl because she's not a baby anymore. And then, I'm having a heart attack, but that's, she don't care. Um, you have to
Soon go
be,
college, hush.
listen, you have to be honest with yourself. You have to take time for you. You have to stay calm. These are just some of the things that I think are necessary to create an openness in your home. Always be the one to try to stay calm. My grandmother used to say to me, a soft answer turneth away wrath. Sometimes, especially when you have a village and everybody has an opinion, the first thing, because you're tired, you're already putting all this pressure on yourself that necessarily nobody else necessarily knows about or is even thinking about. They're probably thinking you're doing a great job and you're piling it on. I think that's the
Mhm.
biggest part of me being open with myself personally. I'm a perfectionist and I need everything to be done and done well. And I don't mean well like we're going past at a 70 and we're good. I mean like 99 well, 100 well. And it's everything has to be like that. So
Right.
I had to pull myself out of that space really quick because it made me very anxious about a lot of things. And I'm like, but I know that a ounce of fret, not that always an ounce of fret can't be a pound of debt. So I can worry about it, I can worry about it, I can worry about it, and can make myself very, very anxious. Or I can be open with myself and open with the limitations that I have, which is that I can only do this at this time. If I can't, you know, there are days when she wants to go outside and play, and boy, really tired. I remember the other day saying to her because she's inside all day and mommy this, mommy that. That's another thing. Staying home during this COVID time. I'm normally at work.
Yeah.
I'm not the one that's at home. So she wants to know, she wants me to do everything with her. She wants to paint. So I'm like, all right. And I get the paintbrush out and I'm like, here you go. And she's like, no, no, come, mommy, come. And I'm like,
Mm.
come.
Mhm.
And I'm like, well, mommy has work to do. And she's like, and I was like, all right, so we're painting. So I make time and I paint and, I have to do all these things. But at the same time, I still have to get what I need to do done.
Mhm.
So there has to be some kind of balance because at the same time, I never want her to feel that she can't come to me about anything. So that is also extended pressure to put on myself. You know what I
Right.
mean? To always make sure that sorry, I'm available for her. I'm there for her. She can come to me and talk to me about anything. She feels comfortable about talking to me about anything because I think a lot of what happens in our societies, a lot of our children are abused. A lot of things happen wherever, just in life, in their experiences. And if they were able to talk with their parents openly about that and not just talk with them, have them believe, because some kids talk to their parents and they don't believe them.
Mm.
Develop that
Mhm.
trust with your child. They are right now your responsibility. They did not ask to be here. So, as much as you might feel frustrated sometimes, this was your decision to bring them here, and it's a beautiful decision, and it's not something that we should take for granted because I know a lot of women that want to have kids and they cannot have children.
Mhm. Exactly.
So
Yeah.
we definitely need to appreciate this honor that has been bestowed upon us. But at the same time, you have to be mindful of how you're managing the expectations, you're being open with yourself about what you need to accomplish. And at the same time, I always tell people, Gratitude is a must, as Coffee said, for real. You need to be grateful, you need to be thankful. That changes everything. Your mindset, I want to be open and openly tell you that your mindset is what sets up your entire life, the law of attraction. So you're openly receiving love, you're giving love, you're here and you're in this space and you're ready to get it. I probably sound like Trishan in this moment with the yoga.
No, 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 no. But all everything is just tying together, guys. If you
it,
did not
it
catch
does.
that episode of the Mom Show, you want to go and watch the replay because everything just is coming together in these conversations.
Because even Trishan, I've been around Trishan and her daughter. Trishan is just very calm and literally very zen. She's like walking, I'm like, okay, I can do this. So now even with my own daughter, I try to remember some of the things that I didn't like growing up as a child. And, I can't promise you they will never happen, but try to do better in that moment and catch myself because I say, I want better for myself. I want better for my child. I want better for the society. I want better for Jamaica. And I want better for the world. So if we produce better human beings and we put all better human beings that validate people's feelings, their emotions, and respect the fact when they say no, that it means no, then I think that we'd have a better society. The respect factor is missing, and our values and our morals are missing, right? So I'm being open about the fact that there are certain things. For instance, a lot of people see people with things in society, or they have a job that you want, and you don't know what they did to get it.
Yeah.
Your granny always tell you, just be happy with what you have. Don't envy people for them things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you have to bring. There's so many elements to openness, Anika, that we can't even discuss it just in this show.
We would probably need a part 2. Hint, hint, Brunswick.
No shade, no shade.
No, I mean, y'all knew what you're getting
You are
into.
you are being so open about that, Anika likes it.
See, it's working.
It is.
But we're gonna have to wrap up soon. Odette Wilson is making a very important comment here. We really need to listen to our kids, even a little nonsense. I mean, let them be comfortable telling you serious things. I will say that my son has surprised me with some of the things that he will come and tell me. And it's literally just listening and creating that space, letting them feel comfortable.
Space, yes.
Yeah, definitely. But sorry, we can go. We have to wrap up shortly. We have like a few minutes left. What last things you want to say? Where can people find you? Any last gems you want to drop?
Okay. What I would like to say first off is don't ignore your emotions and don't hold on to things because you might not realize the damage that you're doing to yourself. You don't know why you feel a certain way. You may be ill. I'm not a medical doctor, okay, guys, so hold on to this. But there are different things that happen within your body when you hold on to emotions and you hold on to negativity. And it also affects the way that your life unfolds, really, because it's you and your mind. I don't think we know as human beings how powerful we are. Thought, the mind, the words, sound, power, how beautiful and powerful it is. So we need to be mindful of that at all times. No matter what, always remain grateful and thankful. Always. There's always something to give thanks for, even in the midst of this. The light is on. It is so hot down here in Jamaica. But guess what? The fan is on. And I have a fan and I could afford that fan. Right? And I just had dinner and my belly is full and I could afford the dinner. So always grateful and always thankful. You might not be in a great mood today. The baby might be crying and it might be stressing you out. But look to tomorrow. Something else is going to happen for you. Something good is going to come through. Don't worry about it. Less anxiety. I have that written down so bold. Less anxiety. Listen, anxiety will turn your life upside down. I have seen it. I have experienced it. It is not something I would wish on my worst enemy. Be very, very open and honest with yourself about what you're feeling, about what you need, and about what you need to do for yourself to make yourself a better person, a better mom, a better employee, a better friend, a better sister, a better daughter, whatever it is. Be open and honest with yourself about what it is that you're feeling. Mommies, this one is for you. Mom guilt is really no. It's really real. But to me, it shows that you're doing something right if you're so very concerned about that.
Well, a minute.
That belongs to you. Oh my gosh. All right. And manage your time and expectations. Always.
Guys, I have to say thank you. Thank you so much, Rochelle. You guys can follow her on, it's in the ticker,
Instagram.
and we'll tag you. But thank you so much,
Thank
Rochelle,
you too.
for being here, for sharing, for being open. Thank you to everybody who joined us. Thank you to Brunswick coming
Yes,
up on Saturday. We're going to be speaking about momentum with Simone McFarlane. So join us.
Simone.
We look forward to seeing you. And just because I realized that I made a typo, I'm gonna fix our name good because I feel too much.
Oh my
Sale,
God. I hope it. Please, let me see. Do
publish,
you want me to proofread it for you?
show.
Where is it?
We're there
There you go.
and
That's
we're
it.
good. So
That's
see
it.
you on Saturday. Thank you again. Thank you
Thanks for
again,
having me,
Rochelle. Thank you,
Anika. And
Brazil.
thanks to
Thank
all
you
the
to
moms.
Brunswick. Bye.
Bye.